And this morning, the city is in mourning. Former Mayor David Dinkins, a political giant and barrier breaker, has passed away. He was 93 years old. With more on his life and legacy, here's our David Ushery.
Our new mayor, the Honorable David N. Dinkins.
He was New York City's first and only African-American mayor.
I see New York as a gorgeous mosaic.
On January 1st, 1990, after the tumult and tension of the Ed Koch era, David N. Dinkins took the oath. He pledged to New Yorkers he would not just be a history-making figure, but a unifying one.
This administration will never lead by dividing, by setting some of us against the rest of us, or by favoring one group over others.
But long after he left office, Mr. Dinkins knew his mayoral legacy would be debated, contested, critiqued.
Given the time to reflect and make judgments, I'm sure there were many things I would have done differently.
Defenders say he never got enough credit for things his administration set in motion. The turnaround in Times Square, getting thousands of more cops onto city streets, and avoiding a state takeover of the city's troubled finances.
Nelson Mandela.
A high point for him and the city, Nelson Mandela's 1990 visit to New York, his first U.S. stop after being released from a South African prison. But critics argued that Dinkins' administration was in disarray and that he was unable to manage an unwieldy, crime-ridden city, especially during one of its worst moments. In August 1991, 7-year-old Gavin Cato was hit and killed by a car in a rabbi's motorcade in Crown Heights. That precipitated a turn of events in which, hours later, a visiting rabbinical student, Yankel Rosenbaum, was stabbed and died. Ugly rioting ensued for 3 days. Dinkins paid a political cost for that and other incidents that had divided the city. After just one term, he lost to Rudolph Giuliani. David Norman Dinkins was born in Trenton and spent part of his childhood growing up in Harlem. He served his country as a Marine and later earned a law degree before entering politics. He served as an assemblyman and Manhattan Borough president. He was part of the famed Harlem Democratic Clubhouse, which included Charles Rangel, Basil Patterson, and Percy Sutton. He adored his bride, as he always called her, Joyce. They were married nearly 70 years. She passed away in October. He was an avid tennis fan who gleefully secured the deal to expand the tennis center in Queens. In later years, he taught public policy at Columbia University and kept up a vigorous schedule of public appearances well into his 90s. And usually, any visit to his office would always include a review of the who's who in pictures, a gallery of history-making moments and friends.
A lot of memories.
David Ushery, News 4 New York.
The news of David Dinkins passing late yesterday quickly spread across the New York City political world. New York's Tracie Strahan is outside of City Hall now with reaction. Tracie.
Oh, Michael, this is news that broke early this morning, but as you can imagine, tributes still coming in from people that worked with David Dinkins, his political rivals, and those who say he inspired them to go into politics. One of those people, the Attorney General Letitia James. Let's read the statement from her that said in part, quote, "Personally, Mayor Dinkins' example was an inspiration to me from my first run for city council to my campaigns for public advocate and attorney general. I was honored to have him hold the Bible at my inaugurations because I and others stand on his shoulders." Now, we also heard from Dinkins' successor, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He said in part on Twitter, quote, "He gave a great deal of his life in service to our great city. That service is respected and honored by all." The NAACP, the national office, posted a photo of the former mayor on their Twitter page saying simply, "Rest in power." We have yet to hear from Mayor de Blasio because, again, this is news that broke early this morning. Keep in mind that Mayor de Blasio was once an aide for the former mayor. We're also around the corner from his legacy. He may have spent his time at City Hall working, but the municipal building in Manhattan was named after David Dinkins 5 years ago. We're live at City Hall this morning. Tracie Strahan, Today in New York. Michael, we'll send it back to you.
Tracie, thank you so much, and we're going to have continuing coverage of David Dinkins' death all morning here on Today in New York, and you can see much more on his legacy on our website and the NBC4 New York app.